Hey guys, welcome to the channel Hyphens Classics. On my own again today, so you're going to have to excuse the filming. We're on a Mini, not mine. Unfortunately it's raining outside, so I won't be doing a lot on mine today. We'll do a little bit, but because of the rain I don't want to be doing too much painting. We'll see how we go. We may have some heaters I might be able to run, but first of all what I really need to do, because I need to get this car out of here, is this is the timing chain. So one of the N12 N14 engines. The tensioner's gone on it, so we've checked that. I've had a quick look, can't see any problems with the plastic guide, so probably could get away with the tensioner. Client said no, just do the whole thing. So we've got a chain kit. We'll do most of it today. I don't have everything because we didn't get a oil seal for the crank, so we're going to order that. But what we're going to do is get into it, get the old chain out, put the new chain in place so that we're ready to go. Now to do that, what we're going to have to do is we have to take this headlight off, because we've got to take this this front bar, I guess it's a frame, holding frame really, it's not really doing too much else. Take a few bits off there. We'll get this wheel, get this side of the car up in the air, get this wheel off, arch off, because we've got to get in to this side of the vehicle. Let's have a quick look down. So what we really want to do here is we've got to get this engine mount off. As you can see, I've already gone down, taken a few bits off. The inlet is all off, etc, etc, because I had to check the tensioner. Now, this is not an instructional video. If you want one of those, there's plenty on YouTube that will show you what to do with this. This is just me, again, just showing you some of the stuff I'm on and doing. Anyway, so we've got to get all this off, because we've got to get all the way down to see all the way down the side of the engine. There's 3 bolts that are holding the tensioners in place. That we have to get out. Obviously we can get inside here, so this is already undone. I'll have a quick look so you can see this is all popped off. I won't try and pull it off yet because I've probably got a few things sitting on there. We'll have a look at that in a minute. We've got to get all the way down through the crank bolt. So anyway, without further ado, I'm going to get into that. Right guys, if any one of you wants to try this, I'm hoping you know how to put it into front service mode. I didn't bother looking into that, and what a pain in the ass. It seems everywhere you go there's a little trap that you just can't quite do something. When I saw this being done, it was on YouTube, the guy had the whole engine out. So anyway, have a look in here. As you can see, we've got this out now, so we can start pulling the chain out. I can't put this completely back together because I want to get a new oil ring, oil seal there. It says it's one-time use. Now, I did effectively get this out quite easily in some respects. A lot of people take this, a lot of people take the harmonizer off there. So it's got a bit of rubber on it. So it gives a bit when it pulls, but these nuts weren't undoing, so I've just kind of taken it out as one thing, which shouldn't make a difference. This is all pinch fit, this stuff, but certainly made it easy to get this out of the inside there. So we've got that out. That's out the way. Now, as you can see, there's another tension arm there, or friction arm, which is in the way of getting one of the bolts out. So that's the next challenge. Getting this out was a pain because of the air conditioning line here, so I had to undo that as well. Anyway, we're getting there. Pain in the ass. Don't do this. Get someone else to do it. Really, don't recommend it. Not at all. Anyway, I've got this far, got to keep going. Talk to you in a bit. Okay, this has been quite nerve-wracking. The locking system of the cams doesn't hold it very strictly dead in place. There's a little bit of movement, which is a little bit scary. Anyway, it's all out. What's interesting is when I looked at this, I think I may have mentioned, I thought it was literally just the tensioner, and I've shown you the tensioner, it's over there. I won't get it now. Well, maybe I will just quickly show you again. So I thought just the tensioner, and as we can see, because the tensioner it shouldn't be that easy to push in. But anyway, that's the tensioner. All these components look alright. The chain looks fine, you know, nothing going on with that. This is the Vanos side. Interesting, the differences between the N12 and the N14 engines. It's got exactly the same either side there. I'll leave them either way, leave them this way, because I just check the part numbers on those. Yeah, there are different part numbers, so we will make sure we know which one's which. So pull this off because we had the top piece off. There was nothing going on with that. Open this up, had a look, and it feels a bit, not too bad, but a bit loose. You can see probably in there, you can see where the chain has started to wear grooves in this. Not too bad, but I thought when I was holding this, something didn't quite feel right. I was looking at it. Not too bad, but turn it over. Look at this. So somewhere there's a piece of plastic floating around in here, and this, look at this, there's a big chunk come off there as well, the bit that holds that other piece in. So it was, while I thought just a tensioner, it's been a smart move to get this out. The problem I have now, somewhere down there, some plastic bits. When I pulled the sump out, I didn't see any plastic bits come out, so I'm going to have a good look around for those bits, because that is quite a chunky bit, and this is quite a small bit here. To be honest, I'm more worried about the small bit than the bigger bit. But anyway, that's it out. Oil seal, where'd that come out? Where'd I go? There it is there. These are one-time use, so I just popped it out, and it really looked like it had been leaking anyway, so it had to come out. So, you know, I mean, it gets destroyed in the process, but it had to come out. It really looks like there's quite a bit. Let's go and have a look down here. So, you can see around the side of the engine there's quite a bit of oil that's sort of been around the side there and down through the bottom there, but anyway, this is where we're at. I have to clean that up a little bit, but what a pain having to pull this arm out as well. That was a major pain in the bum. Still, all out, lots of bits and pieces of an engine. And now what we'll do, I've really got to find those bits of plastic. I'm going to put the other bits together. First of all, we're going to have a good look down here. I think I can see some plastic down there. But anyway, just down here somewhere, just where the end of my finger, I can't really see. The GoPro's got such a tiny screen. My eye's rubbish. There's a piece of plastic hooked around down there. I can just see it. So we're going to have to get that out. Find that, because that won't be good floating. In fact, I can see the other piece of plastic right there, just sitting on the side of the engine there. So we're going to try and fish that out somehow, hopefully through that hole. We're going to pull these bits of plastic out. I'm going to start getting all of the other stuff ready to go and to put back in. And like I said, the oil seal, the crank oil seal, I need to order a new one. I've had to empty the sump, so I need, and you've had a look, there's that silicone around the sump. I've got to clean that up, put a proper seal in there, order one of them up, and some oil. I'll probably change the oil filter at the same time while we're here. You're changing it all out. Anyway, enough for now. It's probably getting a little bit late, so I'm going to wrap up a little bit of this, and then, yeah, we might see you again later. Cheers. Hey guys, right, it's the next day, and I've had a bit of fun. I was a little bit nervous about a few things that I've been doing, and so I've gone through and double checked. So first of all, I won't not be able to show it, but we'll see if we can do it. Underneath where the crank lock goes in, it took a while to get in because the sump was in the way, so I had to take the sump out. And also the tool, the cam locking tool, was not quite sitting right. So we'll have a quick look at this now. You have to excuse my photography skills as well. So what I've done, and it still, it still doesn't sit perfectly, and I don't know if there's another part, but I've had to cut away some piece of tool here and here to get this down over this cam, because as you can see here, the small gap there, and I've managed to reduce it there. So before, this was sitting at least another 5mm higher. When I was undoing this, it was moving around a lot, so that worried me a little bit. But anyway, it's all locked down now. But when I was just adjusting this to find out where the problem was, I loosened this bolt off down this, holding this bolt down here, and found that when this was tightened, that this was actually sitting up in the air. So we cut this back, cut a piece off there to drop it down. Then of course this angle here was hitting on the end of this, so I've cut that off. And it's interesting because this is the 1.4, so this is the N12 engine. Supposedly tools work on the N12, N14, N16 engines, but yeah, I don't quite see how that works. But there's another part in the toolkit, this here, I think is definitely, it doesn't fit in this engine, so I think it's definitely more the N14 maybe, N16 engine, and then there's this component here, which I don't know. I've asked around a few places, and someone said they've seen it in action, but I think it was in conjunction maybe with this part or with maybe some other part, and it could be that it's designed to sit over this, but then needs to bolt onto something. But obviously, as you can see from here, there's effectively nowhere for it to bolt to, unless it was designed to bolt into that, but then of course all this is in the way. And it could be quite easily to hold that down, because it's not perfectly flat. It could sit a little bit lower, but it's all right. It's held in position at the moment. These the markings are pointing up. I had to give these a good rub down and clean to actually be able to see that they're there. This is the exhaust, obviously. This here, I mean, I couldn't see anything. I had to go around waiting to see if I could see the writing. There it is there. You can just see, I think just there, you can see this in. So this is the inlet valve somewhere here. There should be an EX for exits. Anyway, we're all locked in place. Now, just going over again, this is the old chain guides here. And one thing I always wondered what this was, and turns out this goes in it. So your dipstick goes, and if you see here, if you watch down inside, if you can see inside there, as I slowly push it in, you see it appear just down there, and it goes down, so it slide in through here. So as it comes out there, out of the head, it's coming into there and curling around, sitting out down the bottom there. So if you ever wondered why you need to take it out, that's why you need to take it out when you're doing this job. Now the other good thing is I fished out this piece yesterday. Can you see that? There you go, that piece there. That was sitting right down the bottom. Managed to fish this piece out as well. I was a little bit worried about where this had come from, where this had gone, shall I say, but this has dropped out of the pan somewhere. So we've got all the bits out now. So that was my next concern, is I was worried I hadn't found this, and I was trying to look down there, see how I could get the into the oil pump chain and stuff like that, because that's where it's probably dropped. But it's all there now, so quite happy about that. So next thing now is to start preparing the new setup. Like I said, we won't be able to finish today because I still need to get a gasket for the sump. Like I said, just over here, if you can see along here, someone's just put in silicone instead of a proper gasket. Nice. So we're going to get that. We're going to do an engine flush afterwards, but for now we'll probably go back on to time-lapse as I try and do a few other bits and pieces. Oh, one thing before we jump into that, let me get the torch with my dirty fingers and just show you underneath, if I can. Where are we? Here. Hopefully you can see that pin there. I can't quite see the screen not very well. Hang on a sec. Just in there. So you can see it's right up against the handle. When I first finally got it in, I thought, yes, success, I've got it in. But when I went to undo the crank, it was moving a little bit, and I was like, oh geez, what have I done? So now that I've got the time and effort, I've found that yes, it did slip slightly, so it was slightly out of place. So we found the hole and got that in correctly. So we want to make sure we get that timing right. Alright guys, we're going to put some of this back together. Now, very interesting, I've watched, I was just checking this because the client was up looking at his car and this accidentally knocked this on the floor. Anyway, just very quickly, while I look around for a knife, don't have one. So I've watched a number of people on YouTube doing this change, the valve timing chain replacement, and very interesting that, you know, there's a few differences in the way people do it, and I mean, at the end of the day, it all turns out fine in the end. One thing I haven't noted is, you know, we talk about when you build an engine that, excuse me, I'm playing with the plastic here, but you know, when you build an engine, one of the things you do, you know, you put it together, and you tend to oil a lot of the parts, because obviously when you first turn it on, you know, the oil won't have been moving through the engine, and even if you don't have the coils turned on or whatever it might be, you just turn it over, you don't have the fuel supply in, things have got to move when you first start the engine again, and so that means there's no oil in the system. So I'm interested to see that no one's really just sort of run much in the way of any oil down the sides of these guides in any of the videos I've seen. But so I'm going to go find some new oil, not some old oil, and just run a little bit down there before we run everything together. And also I want to run a little bit over here. But as we can see in this, there's little gaps in there because this comes in and then it locks in place. This is the forward one, as said, because this is where the dipstick comes in and goes round. So we're just going to go and find a little bit of oil, and then we're going to start putting some of this back finger tight together until we can get some of the other parts. Just remember, so this is slightly different to the N14 and N16 engines, because you've got a variable timing on both inlet and exhaust, and we can tell IN inlet, EX exhaust. Okay, so we know which, so sorry, I'll put them around that way so we know. Exhaust this side, exhaust in the front. So different to the early Gen 1 Minis, which the engine was effectively around the other way. You had inlets in the front, exhaust in the back. So I'm just going to go find some oil, and then I'll probably go into a time lapse for that bit. Right, so quite a lot of footage on the Mini One. I started thinking as I was getting ready to do this wrap-up video, I started to think, I called this channel Hyphens Classics, thinking of, you know, the Land Rover I was working on, thinking of you know, some of the other cars that we're going to work on. It seems to have been going in the opposite direction. Anyway, the only real reason, to be honest, I'm working on this Mini One is it's a very good neighbour, and he is an older gentleman. He doesn't like being called too old, but then he is, you know, he's quite worried about where we're at in this lockdown, so he's keeping himself well protected and staying away from a number of things, and you know, he just wanted his car fixed. So hence the reason we're doing this. It's a good learning experience for me, apart from the obvious frustration I felt, and I think, to be fair, the frustration came a lot from, I've never pulled one of these cars apart, right? This is the first time, and I think, again, this is for me what this channel is about, and hopefully for you to get out of this is that, again, I mean, this is my actual office. This is what I do where I am right now, and maybe another video I'll show you what it is that I do. But you know, I come from an office IT engineering background, you know, working in you know, enterprises, delivering IT and AV solutions. So, you know, working on cars is not something I do day in, day out. I'm not a mechanic. And so, you know, any people out there who are, you know, more mechanically minded than I am, obviously I appreciate all of the comments you provide me. So this was, you know, when I decided to take this on, I did think about it quite a lot, because obviously changing the timing chain on the engine is quite significant. In all the research I did, it seemed like it wouldn't be too bad of a thing to do. You know, I thought about all the tools I might need, etc., etc., because obviously, you know, as you go through this, those are the sorts of things that can cause some of the frustration. And I think, you know, when I was pulling things apart, for sure, you know, trying to reach certain screws, or, you know, you think you've got everything apart, and you go to do something, you find you can't reach some other screw or bolt or nut or something like that, and some of the nuts you're trying to reach are obviously very, very difficult. So again, having the right tool can really help you get to where you need to go. I had to borrow a torque wrench because the torque wrench I had didn't go as low enough, so I had a 28 to 210 Newton meter torque wrench, but in some of the timing here you have to go low. So for example, the sump, 9 Newton meters on those. So, you know, you have to think about all these things and get all that information first before you dive into this. But anyway, it is what it is. I hope you enjoyed this. I have already started creating the second one, and so we'll try and get that out as well. But I'm also quite keen to get back to a lot of the Land Rover stuff. I've got more footage coming from my Mini, some interesting colors now coming up under the car. So again, I hope you're staying safe, guys. Remember, if you're liking the content I'm providing, please hit the like button. Subscribe if you can as well. That would be really helpful to me, and appreciate all your support so far. Thank you very much, and we'll see you in the next episode. Bye for now.